So you want to dive into personal transformation and resilience.
Sounds right up our alley.
Well, get ready, because this interview with Darren Gee is, it's powerful stuff.
Yeah, no holding back.
He goes deep into addiction, run-ins with the law, even talks about facing threats.
Heavy stuff, for sure.
But here's the thing that really struck me. He refuses to be defined by those experiences, you know?
It's almost like he uses that darkness as fuel.
Yeah.
It's like staring it down and using it to propel himself forward.
And you can really feel that, especially when he starts talking about this 10-year plan he created for his life.
Oh, yeah, and don't forget he did that while he was still incarcerated.
Exactly. I mean, come on, crafting a 10-year plan under those circumstances, that's next-level determination.
Let's talk about making the most of a difficult situation.
It really makes you think about the power of choosing where you focus your energy, you know? Even when it feels like everything's stacked against you.
Absolutely, and the thing about this 10-year plan, it's not just some vague vision board.
Right.
He breaks it down into these really concrete steps, and he even talks about how getting his driver's license became this huge pivotal moment for him.
I remember that.
Like a symbol of freedom.
Yeah, it's that return to normalcy.
Exactly.
You know, it's funny because it reminds me of this thing I heard recently about how our brains get a hit of dopamine from achieving even the smallest of goals.
Oh, yeah, like those little victories.
Right. So every time Darren ticked something off that 10-year plan, his brain was basically throwing a mini celebration.
Love that.
And that creates this positive feedback loop that keeps pushing you forward even when things get tough.
It's like each one of those little wins builds on the one before.
Momentum, right?
Exactly. And that momentum, it's not just for him. It kind of spills over into other parts of his life, too, especially when he talks about his son, Quintus.
And that's where things get really interesting, right? I mean, being a parent, it's a whole other ballgame.
For sure.
And he's really open about the challenges of being the kind of father he wants to be.
Yeah, what struck me was how honest he was about the emotional toll it took.
Yeah.
Especially when he talks about not always being able to see his son.
Oh, yeah, particularly those times when it was because of conflicts with his former partner's friends.
Right.
That's got to be so tough to deal with.
Absolutely.
I mean, it would be easy to let the anger and resentment take over in that situation.
Totally.
But it seems like he made a conscious choice to step back, you
Right.
know, for his own well-being.
And for his sons, too.
Right.
And he even talks about how he kept sending financial support during those times when he couldn't see Quintus as much as he wanted.
That's huge.
Yeah, it really shows his dedication to being a father.
It does. It really makes you think, you know. It's one thing to talk about wanting to break the cycle, but it's a whole other thing to actually do it.
Right.
And that's what I found so inspiring about Darren's story. He's not just talking the talk, he's walking the walk.
You can really feel that.
He even says at one point, you've seen me skinny as you've seen me healthy, as you've seen me speaking articulate and correct. You've seen me in every shade and every stage of my progress.
Wow.
And it really struck me because it's like he's inviting us to see him, you know, flaws and all.
And to witness his evolution.
Exactly.
I think that vulnerability is what makes his story so powerful.
It's huge.
He owns every chapter.
Yeah, and it ties into something else. He talks about the importance of fixing himself first.
Right. Before things on the outside could fall into place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in wanting external circumstances to change. But a lot of times, the real transformation has to start from within.
Absolutely. It's about taking control of your own growth.
And for Darren, that included being really intentional about the kind of work he was willing to do.
Oh, yeah. He was very clear about that.
He wasn't interested in just any job. He even called them, what was it, jail jobs?
Yeah. He wanted something more meaningful, something that aligned with who he was now.
Totally. And that kind of leads us to what I thought was one of the most powerful takeaways from the whole interview.
Let's hear it.
Darren says, eventually, the things you want the most will come to you.
Man, that line gave me chills.
Oh, I know. Right.
It's such a powerful reminder that change takes time.
It's a mantra.
It really is.
For anyone who's ever felt lost or discouraged, you know, you can create a life that truly reflects who you want to be.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a question.
All right, I like where this is going.
What small goal can you set for yourself today to kickstart that positive change in your own life? What shift in perspective, what step forward will bring you closer to the life you envision? Keep that question in mind as we sign off for today.